A historic afternoon in the nation's capital as Arizona Senator Jeff Flake says enough. The longtime Arizona politician delivered a speech to say he will not run for re-election next year, saying he could no longer be complicit with President Donald Trump and the Republican Party.
I've decided that I would be better able to represent the people of Arizona and to better serve my country and my conscience by freeing myself of the political consideration that consumed far too much bandwidth and would cause me to compromise far too many principles. To that end, I am announcing today that my service in the Senate will conclude at the end of my term in early January 2019. I am aware that there is a segment of my party that believes that anything short of complete and unquestioning loyalty to a president who belongs to my party is unacceptable and suspect. Now it seems that we, the architects of this visionary, rules-based world order that has brought so much freedom and prosperity, are the ones most eager to abandon it. The notion that one should stay silent as the norms and values that keep America strong are undermined, and as the alliances and agreements that ensure the stability of the entire world are routinely threatened by the level of thought that goes into 140 characters. The notion that we should say or do nothing in the face of such mercurial behavior is ahistoric, and I believe profoundly misguided. The personal attacks, the threats against principles, freedoms and institution, the flagrant disregard for truth and decency, the reckless provocations, most often for the pettiest and most personal reasons having nothing whatsoever to do with the fortunes of the people that we have been elected to serve. None of these appalling features of our current politics should ever be regarded as normal. It is time for our complicity and our accommodation of the unacceptable to end.
Arizona Senator John McCain, who's living with brain cancer, has been publicly sparring with the president over his leadership as well. Moments after Senator Flake's speech today, McCain took to the floor to commend Flake's service.
I have seen Jeff Flake stand up for what he believes in, knowing full well that there would be a political price to pay. So as we look, all of us, at some point at our time that we have spent here, whether it be short or whether it be long, we look back and we think about what we could have done, what we should have done, what we might have done, and the mistakes we made and the things we're proud of. Well, when the Flake service to this country and this Senate is reviewed, it will be one of honor, of brilliance, and patriotism and love of country.
Flake's announcement sent shockwaves through the Capitol. About an hour after his speech, White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders called Flake's decision, quote, probably a good move, but so far no statement from President Trump himself. Now for the latest from the Capitol, let's go live to Cronkite News reporter Trevor Fay, who's at our Washington bureau.
We caught up with Senator Flake today after his floor speech, and he says that even though he's not running for re-election, there is still much work that he needs to do on the Capitol before he's done. This includes getting Congress to weigh in on military conflicts around the globe and finding a way to protect DACA recipients. Flake says that even though he has had some antagonism with President Trump, he still believes that the president wants to protect those kids under DACA, and he's committed to finding a way to work with the president on that. But he says that otherwise the current political climate has discouraged him from running.
If I could run the kind of race I'd like to run and believe I could win a Republican primary, I might go forward.
When asked if he had done all that he needs to do in the Senate, Flake said, "You're never done." But he said that he's still in office for another 15 months and he plans to work right up until the end. Live in Washington, Trevor Fay, Cronkite News.
All eyes will be on Arizona's Senate race in 2018. With the incumbent out, we could see an increase in candidates throwing their hats into the ring. 4 candidates have declared so far, most notably Dr. Kelly Ward on the Republican side and current 9th District Representative Kyrsten Sinema. We talked to political consultant Stan Barnes about what this means for those candidates, and he says today is a bad day for Kelly Ward. She needs to come up with a different campaign strategy.
She was about to have a one-on-one with a weak, or at least a senator that was in trouble, and had one message, that she was not Jeff Flake. Now, She has an actual primary with other unknown people, some of whom may have a lot of money and name ID. And so her old playbook can be torn up and thrown in the Colorado River.
Dr. Kelly Ward was Flake's biggest challenger for the Republican nomination for Senate. The former Arizona state senator led in polls against Flake and was endorsed by President Trump and his supporters. Today, Ward tweeted, "Arizona voters are the big winner in Jeff Flake's decision to not seek re-election. They deserve a strong conservative in the Senate who supports the president and the America First agenda. Our campaign proudly offers an optimistic path forward for Arizona and America."
Congresswoman Kyrsten Sinema is also running for the Senate seat. Early polling shows Sinema is leading in the Democratic primary. Sinema took to Twitter also after Flake's announcement, saying with Jeff Flake retiring, we must do everything we can to show we are ready to win.
Arizona Governor Doug Ducey and fellow Republican addressed Flake's announcement on Twitter as well, thanking him for representing Arizona and wishing his family the best. Ducey wrote, "Jeff was a voice for fiscal responsibility at the federal level before it was popular. I've appreciated his friendship, professionalism, and intellect on policy issues impacting Arizona."
Flake's departure from the Senate will bring an end to nearly 2 decades of his service on Capitol Hill. Jeff Flake is a 5th-generation Arizonan, and his family helped settle Snowflake, Arizona. He graduated from BYU and served as the executive director for the Foundation of Democracy in Namibia in 1987. Flake was executive director of the Goldwater Institute after he moved back to Arizona in 1992, and he then served in the U.S. House of Representatives for 12 years before winning a Senate seat in 2012. We have much more coverage on Flake's decision and the response online and on our Cronkite News social channels. You can find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.